a hunter. We talked about being a hunter. Now you done hunted. Let's see if you can respond.
Live and direct. It's Des the Connect, man. What's going on? Gamepoint podcast.
And I bees that mouthy mofo out the Midwest. Ted Grams.
Pops in the house.
Ready to get schooled by the young guys. This is a finalizing look inside a week of sports. As it is known to the fans, all other sports shows are just buckets, but this is Game Point.
Man, you heard a new song this week, they said, man.
Bron's playing. Bron's playing. They're 0-2 to 0-3. Hey, oh. Man, it was in full effect, man, both in Cleveland and Toronto. Bron just had a different plan despite all the changes and evolution, quote unquote, for that Raptors team and those two stars out there. I guess you could say making more threes, even though, they not really significantly hitting a whole lot more threes. They definitely did put together one of the better benches in the NBA that we saw, a really strong second unit, and they were able to rest their guys a lot more minutes this year. And, that's something that I definitely believe in. Bron has made me a believer. Our championship run took 2 weeks off, and I just do. I think taking those minutes away and giving guys that extra rest, it does definitely do something for you, but it didn't translate. It didn't translate for the baby dinosaurs going up against King James. And if I'm not mistaken, at the start of these playoffs, y'all were, both you and Pops were big fans of Toronto. Tell me what y'all saw, because those are your guys. And I mean, I'm not a big I told you so guy, but I did tell y'all so. Did I not? I just want to hear from both of y'all that I was right.
Well, one thing I did say, Chris, I didn't think they beat LeBron 4 times, but I really didn't think we'd sweep them. But I thought they performed better.
Well, okay, they didn't even win any though.
Well, yeah,
so
I thought they performed better than they did.
Needless to say, you were wrong in the biggest type of way. They didn't even do what you thought they might do. They didn't win any. They didn't win any games. They were in fact swept, and they were dominated, and it looked almost identical to the situation that I described to you. LeBron just has those guys' number. He dominated them in a way that we haven't seen since, he really punished the Detroit Pistons to take them to his first finals. Like, we hadn't seen that LeBron since then, but we saw him for 4 games straight in a killer mode that was reminiscent of the great Michael Jordan. Like, it truly was. Hitting big shots late in games, coming on extremely strong in fourth quarters. I mean, all but game 1. We really saw the best LeBron, a very aggressive LeBron, a very efficient LeBron. This seemed like what fans, guys like me who love the game, love LeBron, but, really got a lot of respect for guys like Kobe and Jordan because of what they were willing to do and how they were willing to get after the competition in the biggest moments. That's something that has been on call from us and fans like me for a long time from LeBron James as somebody widely considered as the baddest man on the planet with a rock in his hand. And he answered no. He surpassed all my call on him with this last series. He really is. He's got a great bid for the GOAT. And if Jordan wasn't such a strong candidate, to me, he might have Kobe beat. He might have Kobe beat at this point. I would like to see another ring to really solidify it, but I'm definitely not. I'm nowhere in the position.
Kobe's not in the conversation. He got Kobe. Come on, man. Come on. He got Kobe. He's had Kobe for years. I don't even want to hear his name.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, he's had Kobe for years. I don't even want to hear his name mentioned with LeBron. Get the heck out of here, Chris. Come on.
All right,
man.
well, you know what?
Well, props to LeBron. Since I think I woke him up, Chris. Word must have got back to Akron when I said he had to be the best player on the floor. And ever since then, he's been that.
Whoa.
Word must have got back to Akron, Chris.
Come on, man.
Word must have got back to Akron.
Oladipo was better than him.
Word must have got back to Akron when I challenged him to be the best player on the floor every game. Ever since that game, ever since I said that, he's done that. So word must have got back to Akron.
He's been that.
Word must have got back to Akron, Chris.
He's been that business as usual for the King.
No,
I think it's exactly how I called it.
I think I woke him up, Chris.
I had these lames numbers.
You were trying to knock me. Maybe word got back to Akron, what Pops had said about him, and he's been the best player on the floor ever since. Come on, man. Let's call it like it is, Chris. Maybe I'm the one that shook him up.
What was
Maybe
it?
I'm the one. Word got back to Akron, Chris.
So what did you see different in him that you didn't see in that first series?
He's just aggressive, man. Best player on the floor. There's no reason for LeBron James not ever to be the best player on the floor each and every game like Mike was. When you talk GOAT, Mike was the best player on the floor every game, even when Detroit was hammering him. He was still the best player on the floor. That's what I want from LeBron James. So props to LeBron James.
He did that same thing against Indianapolis. You couldn't recognize.
He did what he was supposed to do. Like Chris Rock said, no props for doing what you're supposed to do. LeBron, that's what you were supposed to do. No props for taking care of your family. That's what a man's supposed to do. No props for LeBron being the best player and dominating the series. That's what he's supposed to do. Come on, Chris.
I agree, but only one of us knew it.
Oh,
and that's why I brought up his greatness.
I think I shook him
That's
up.
why I brought up
Word
his
got
greatness.
back to Akron what I said about
goodness.
it. Word
My misdiagnosis and my disbelief of the greatest man in the world and the baddest man on in the NBA and on the planet with a rock in his hand. That's what shook him up.
Don't mention Kobe Bryant with LeBron James. It ain't even close. Bron been better than Kobe. I don't even want to hear Kobe Bryant. Come on, man.
Hey.
It's him and Mike.
You can't discount a man with
It's
5
him, Mike,
rings.
and Kareem.
But is Kobe a
Kareem.
top 10 player, Dad, in your mind?
I don't know. I don't know if Kobe makes my top 10. I don't know if Kobe makes my top 10. No.
What?
I doubt it.
You doubt it.
I doubt it.
What?
Kobe's outside that top 10.
Who was you watching, man? Who was you watching?
Kobe better hope he make my top 20.
Who are you watching?
Hey, a better question is Kobe in my top 20.
Well, let's isolate the position then. Let's isolate the position.
Man, I don't want to
real quick.
You ain't gonna ruin my Saturday talking about Kobe Bryant.
Man, real quick. Let's isolate the position. Tell me 5 shooting guards that's better than Kobe.
I can't do that. He's the third greatest shooting guard of all time.
Who better than him than Mike?
Second.
Oh,
greatest.
okay.
Second
So
greatest.
how is it that you the second greatest at a position, not to mention a guard, but you not in the top 10?
No,
you're not in the top 20?
He's not in the top. I didn't say one in the
man.
top
It sound
20.
like nonsense.
He's not in the not
That's
top
possible.
10.
If you go with the big man.
If you got a lot of
Man,
big
it
men.
ain't
put
been
Shaq-
the big man's game for a long time.
But it was though. If you gonna put Shaq above him,
Chris,
Shaq above him?
I'm not putting Shaq above
Chris,
him.
the NBA.
I might.
Oh, come on, Chris.
And here's why. Because when when Kobe repeated, Shaq was never able to repeat after Kobe. But when Kobe repeated, he didn't have a star anywhere near the likeness of a Shaq to get it
Paul
done.
Gasol was one of the baddest
Gasol
big men in the
man,
league.
And Biden.
Yeah,
And
sure.
Biden.
Man, he
And
was
Biden.
he was good, but he hadn't won no rings. He hadn't hardly even been.
Chris,
had he been to the playoffs before he went?
Chris, you're going to ruin the show bringing up Kobe Bryant.
Man, come
He's
on,
not
man.
with
I think y'all gotta recognize
come on,
Kobe
man.
greatness, man.
No,
That's all I'm saying. I think y'all mistaken. But you know what? One thing I
Don't
do
mention
know.
him. Don't
One thing
mention
I know
Kobe with
about
LeBron
one thing
James.
I know about old folks is y'all misremember stuff. So the fact that it's not going on now, I don't expect you to have.
Don't
the same
mention Kobe with
appreciation
LeBron
for it.
James. That ain't even. He's not even in consideration.
All right,
with
well,
Bron.
moving
Come
on.
man.
Moving on. Bron's playing in full effect. You seen them boys break the brooms
Kobe
out on him.
Bryant.
Man,
One of us knew it. 2 of us didn't. We don't got to go into it because it's all on wax. Shout out to all of everybody who been down with us since the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I said.
Kobe
It's
Bryant.
documented.
Give me a break.
It's documented. Let's move on.
Chris up to his usual hijinks. Kobe Bryant, throwing Kobe Bryant in the mix. Come on, man. Bron.
Sound good.
Man, we had to move on to the some of the other Cavs supporting casts being able to step up. Man, you got Kevin Love, man, had a big series. You had J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, man. What do y'all think about it?
Who do we feel like was the biggest pops? You know what I'm saying? With LeBron, you know what I'm saying? One thing that we did need to see step up from at least the first series is this supporting cast. Like I was saying, LeBron had been awesome to me since the beginning of the playoffs. Even throughout that Indiana series, I always felt like, he was the best guy on the floor and he was playing like it. What do you feel like was the difference outside of LeBron, though? Because, obviously it wasn't just him. Even if he elevated his game, he didn't elevate it enough. I don't feel like to go from playing 7 with one team to being able to sweep, what's considered to be a better team or a team that had a better record and definitely more experience as far as the playoffs go. When you talk about their superstars or they stars of their team, who else do you feel like outside LeBron was the greatest factor in just really executing Bron's plan and turning the 0-2 into a 0-3 and so on and so forth?
Well, he got some help from his teammates. Obviously Kevin stepped up and earn some of that money he's making. Jr. played pretty well. He made some shots from the outside. Korver,
that was the name I was really looking to hear. Kyle Korver,
and one of the key though was George Hill.
I agree. I think that was the biggest difference.
Yeah, because he was able to take some of the playmaking responsibility away from LeBron. LeBron didn't have the ball in his hands all the time, so George was big. Steady.
I thought he was big in Game 7 as well.
Yeah.
Even in closing out the Pacers,
yeah.
he came on.
His minutes were big.
He was having played really too much that whole series since Game 1. He kind of came back out and really exuded that poise and that old wily old vet experience that we really were hoping that we were going to be able to count on from him. He really showed it coming out in the Game 7. Hostile situation, a lot of energy, all the pressure, is kind of there for us. And, he stepped up and played well, and he continued to play well through the Toronto series. I like George Hill a lot, but I think Kyle Korver, him working in tandem with LeBron James and LeBron James's vision and playmaking, a shooter who can really get going like Kyle, he's going to need to keep that going, through these conference finals and the finals, if we make it, and we will. But when I think about Golden State, not to, discount or try to jump past Boston, but when I think about Golden State and the way that they can get high, we're going to need offensive punch. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that we just don't have a lot of. You know what I'm saying? And at the very best, it's inconsistent. A guy like Kyle Korver, when he's going, he can keep us in games and he can keep us dueling into the fourth quarter with a Golden State. And I think that with the way that LeBron is playing now, especially being so big in the fourth quarter, being able to hit such big clutch shots, in the last seconds of the game, being close, going into quarters, down single digits, down 7, or going into the last 5 minutes, down 5, or, just in those games instead of 13, 14, and having to make those big, huge pushes back just to really be in the game. Kyle Korver and his shooting is so important to us because he's somebody who can get going and he can really bury you or he can really hurt you in one quarter. He can hit 4 or 5 and really make a huge difference in the game when you pair him with LeBron's playmaking. And ultimately, I think that's been our calling card when you see us get the big wins, when you see us, when teams continue to play us tight, where our second win has been coming from, especially in that third quarter, has been Kyle Korver. Along with the host of other shooters, but I feel like when you see Kyle get it going, you kind of see some of those other guys get it going too. I'm talking about Kevin Love. I'm talking about J.R. Smith. And another reason, too, if you recall, like I say, shout out to our listeners who've been just riding with us. I also said that those guys who are champions and they already have rings and they've been bred through the fire and they've gone through the fire before, I fully expected them to wake up, you know what I'm saying, as the playoffs went on. But Kyle Korver is a guy, he's playing like a champion. Doesn't have a ring, but he playing like he want one.
Playing hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He just play like you know what time it is. He play like somebody who's preparing for the moment, preparing to have to play big, preparing to have to hit big shots. I mean, he just seems like somebody who's got a real professional approach, and I mean, it's showing. It's showing in the way that he's performing. So I'm giving my game ball and my A1 for best supporting actor, and this show that is Bron's playing. I got to give it up to my favorite white boy, Kyle Korver, you know what I'm saying? Because he doing this thing in a major way. He finally coming on and hitting those shots for us that he was hitting in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? He's a real sniper. So, yeah, shout out to Kyle Korver.
Pops, you got anything else good to say about the supporting cast that were able to step up? Because it was some players.
Well, I just want to I want to emphasize what George Hill is very important, that he gets the ball out of LeBron's hands. So LeBron, because we need LeBron to score a little more.
But he wasn't alone in that. He wasn't alone in that, especially when, and not even just when LeBron went out, because we saw Kevin Love and LeBron a few games really get some good chemistry going and link up a lot. We have to utilize Kevin Love in the post as, not just to get his own shots, but as a catalyst for the offense and allow LeBron to move without the ball. But we saw it throughout the Toronto series, especially in those early games. And with LeBron and Kevin Love finally really playing off each other. You seeing LeBron, getting backdoor cuts, pocket bounce pass from Kevin Love, you know what I'm saying, for dunks.
And what's his name was doing it too. They was working that pick and roll too.
Who's that?
Kevin Love and George
Hill.
Yeah,
he was, but I thought Kevin Love being a superstar, really getting his mojo going.
Being a what?
Being a superstar.
Well, give me one more time.
A superstar.
Come on.
Yeah, that I'm saying. I'm not gonna say.
Is that a new development?
Yeah, absolutely, it is. That's what I'm saying. And a lot of it is touch and go. But I think it's not all his fault. Sure, he's got the man up, and he's got to be a guy.
Man, he's a good ball player.
Listen, right? Absolutely.
Somebody told me he made the top 100 of all time in somebody's rankings, and I don't believe that.
K-Love?
Yeah, like he was in the very back of it. They had him in there.
That's probably Chris's list.
100 is a lot of guys, though, and I do think that.
Trust me, there's 100 guys in the history of the league better than Kevin Love. Trust me.
Yeah,
I might be able to name you 50 right quick, Chris.
No, I won't have you do that, Pops.
Hold on, is Carmelo one of them?
Right, because my whole thing is,
Melo might not make the top 100.
Is he better than Kevin Love?
Yeah, he better than Kevin Love. I guess. They about to say.
Come on, man. The fact that you,
I know y'all.
Melo and Kevin Love about to say.
I know you hip hop boys love Carmelo, so I'm not gonna mess with you.
I'm just saying, when you talk about versatility, though, Carmelo can do a lot of things that Kevin Love can't do.
Yeah, he can do everything but win.
Come on, man. We ain't gonna spend too much time on players that can't get out the first round.
Anyway, like I said, back to this utilization of Kevin Love. And then what you got to understand about these playoffs and winning rings.
I do disagree with you. He's not a superstar. He's an all-star. He's not a superstar.
What I meant to say is the way that we were going through him and the plays that he was making in his last series, he was reaching past all-stardom and making some superstar plays and having some superstar type sequences. It was the efficiency of the offense he was creating for his team.
Matchups.
So you just think it was a bad matchup against Indiana?
Yeah, and I said that. I said that. They big, they physical. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's other big men for both teams. He's one of the smaller guys.
Y'all consider Toronto just a soft team when y'all look at their
roster?
I
don't think Toronto is a soft team. I just think that Indiana, we know with the characters that they have and the history that we got with them, they're going to play us hard. They done been right there with LeBron. They got a history with LeBron. They're going to play him hard.
Better, too.
Yeah.
You had some length with the left-handed guy and the
Thaddeus Young
teammate. Yeah, Thaddeus Young. Them guys gave Kevin some trouble, man.
But why wouldn't Ibaka and Valanciunas, those guys have more size than I think any player on Indiana besides Miles Turner?
It's not so much it's the athleticism.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the athleticism when you talk about those
Ibaka has
elastic
some of that
jumpers.
Athleticism too. It seems
he has.
He's just not the same player to me.
And then I'm not gonna lie, like Thaddeus Young, he's more athletic than Ibaka. Like he is. Thaddeus Young, he's got a special kind of athleticism, like similar to LeBron's. When you talk about somebody that big who can move that well, you know what I'm saying, long, got quick feet, he do similar.
Now
all
the supporting cast stepped up. We were looking from some of the other players that we got from the trade, like Rodney Hood, to step up. And, not only did he lose his spot to Chetty Osman in that game 4, he refused to come back in the game. What was your take on that, Pops?
Terrible. Rodney, I got to punish you for that, man. That's unacceptable. They let you off light with the fine, man, but I was very disappointed.
I thought you didn't get a fine.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I meant. They let him off.
So wait a minute. He didn't even get fined?
He didn't get fined. He didn't get nothing.
No, but you know why that is, though. That's okay. That's all right, because you're not going to be here. You won't be here next year. And guess what? We're not going to ask you to go in no more. You officially just went ahead and checked yourself. Out of probably what's going to be one of your slim, if not your only opportunity to play in the conference finals and to play in the finals. I don't want nobody on the team. There's no room. This is a championship organization. It wasn't no long time ago. We in the hunt every year. Hey, man, you somebody, you don't know nothing about where we been. You don't know nothing about where we trying to go. And frankly, up to this point, you ain't been worth nothing.
Yeah, well, you see what Steven
You
Jackson
completely out of line.
Steven Jackson killed him. Who else killed him? I think Kenyon Martin. They all went after him. Man. I have to agree with him. They killed him, man. They flat out murdered him.
And not only that, but
national TV.
you're not smart because it's a huge indictment on you as a professional.
Yeah.
Because I hate that I got to bring this up because this is the time of the year where hopefully you love this and it's the last thing I should have to say to you. But it's your job, man. You know, you're not out here playing for fun. You ain't up at the rec. You get paid for this. So for a guy to tell me ultimately, you're being insubordinate.
Exactly. Hey.
And I mean, then you got a nerve. I try to give you an opportunity, whatever it is, no matter how minute it is. If you're playing garbage minutes, it's because you're a garbage player.
Hey, that's what Steven Jackson said. Lit him up, man.
And he deserved every bit of it. And guess what? It's too many young guys with these huge hoop dreams. Man, it's no way we got to beg you to get in the game in the playoffs, you know, for a team that's on the brink of the finals, no less, and you haven't done anything, been about anything, you know, since you came or even before. You haven't achieved anything. You haven't achieved anything, man. You let a rookie take your spot. But it's minutes in the game that you think you too good for?
Yeah, but
man, get him out of here, man. Get him out of here.
Well, the team, it was odd that they said that in the, you know, when he apologized to the team, you know, they kind of laughed at him and clowned him a little bit. So I guess it wasn't as bad to the team as a lot of people took it. But, Rodney, you can't do that, man. Coach put you in the game. You got to go in, man. Boo to you. And but the guys, you see how they reacted. They laughed at him when he apologized, and they kind of took it lightheartedly. So I don't think they were as pissed off as the fans were.
It's easy to do that. It's easy to do that when you winning. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's easy to do. We got it done without you. And like I said, he's not one of the guys who's been contributing, and he's not one of the core guys that we going to be looking to. That was my thing.
He didn't have a gripe. He didn't have a gripe. He couldn't have had a gripe because he hasn't performed. Yeah, so that's the most disappointing part about it.
And even if you have, though, because these guys who have played well when they've come in and out of the season, but they've been in and out of the lineup, Kyle Korver being one of them. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, yeah, they laugh it off, but you better believe that guys who are champions, like LeBron James and J.R. Smith, and I'm going to give another lot of credit to Tristan Thompson, we probably would be out the playoffs if Tristan Thompson had that type of mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
If he wasn't have a heart of a champion and a professional approach to the game and saying, hey, I'm going to be ready when coach called my number. I'm going to be ready to give it all I got. I don't care what type of minutes it is. I don't care what time it is. I don't care what the situation is. Man, listen, and LeBron, I hope that he pulled him to the side and told him, yeah, hey, I know we laughed that off in there, and that's for the sake of the morale. And that's for the sake of our cohesion moving forward.
Okay, Chris.
But hold on. Let me finish this sentiment.
Uh-huh.
There's no room for that. And you hearing that from me. Okay. The boss. The big boss.
Quick question.
No room for it.
You're his teammate that night. What do you say to him?
Man, exactly what I just said. That LeBron, I got to pull him to the side. Mm-hmm. There's no room for that. Mm-hmm. I won't have
it. It was so much to celebrate that I don't think you lag on it too much. You know, we did
and that's what I'm saying.
Like you said, winning covers it all. Winning covers it all.
I get it.
They said several teammates did tell him that, though. So you would have been one of them?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think as a coach, though, you spend too much time. You're like,
no.
And you go to the next one. Who want to play?
I'm not saying that.
Somebody want to play.
Exactly. I'm not saying that. But listen, if you think that it went unnoticed, though, you a fool. Yeah, it's like when your boss catch you talking, you know what I'm saying, in a break room, and it's like 15 minutes after lunch. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he might not call you in there and fire you, but you think this what you into. I'll make a mental note of that. We'll see what that next assessment be like when it's time for raises and stuff. We'll see what that be like. Don't be in here talk about how hard of a worker you are.
So, Chris, you would have lit into him that night?
Man, like I said, it's not about lighting into him because guess what? The shame is your own. Mm-hmm. When you a competitor and you an athlete, especially at this higher level, and then at this point in this season where the stakes are this high, and not to mention, but you know just how much of a struggle it's been. We not Golden State or nobody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we washed Toronto and we whooped them down pretty good. But, I mean, ultimately it was due to the effort of LeBron. It's not like we blowing everybody out and LeBron sitting fourth quarters and we just strong-arming our way through the Eastern Conference the way we have before. Yeah. That's not the case. That's not the case. So, I mean, it's really no room for nobody to be lacking or feeling like, it's work that they don't have to put in. Just no room for that type of mentality. And like I said, that's why I called on the few examples of the very instrumental pieces like Kyle Korver and Tristan Thompson. What I'm saying is we never get that lift. If you're a smart enough student of the game to observe their contributions and understand that lift has been essential to where we at now, then you know how big the Rodney Hood situation truly was. Because guess what? Like I say, are we here if Tristan Thompson has that approach? Are we here if Kyle Korver has that approach? You know what I'm saying? Are we here?
Hey,
probably not.
Thumbs down to Rodney. So we can leave that. I think everybody agrees on that.
Yeah, man. I call up Charlamagne and give him Donkey of the Day because he really blew that one.
Man, I ain't gonna spend too much time on the Toronto players, man, just because y'all out the playoffs, man, and here at Gamepoint podcast, man. Let's just know Lowry and DeRozan, y'all didn't do enough.
It's called Gamepoint for a winning reason, man.
Yeah.
About winners.
Yeah. But I do want to spend a little time on Casey getting fired. 2 days after winning the Coach of the Year award, whether you feel like that was well deserved or not, he lost his job after being the top 3 teams in the East for the past 3 years. Second best record in the whole NBA this year. First best in the Eastern Conference, but ran back into LeBron and lost 4-0 2 years straight. Do y'all think the firing was deserving or?
Well, I want to hear what Chris said because he said that he had some strong opinions on this. So
all right, well,
let him speak first.
If you gonna let me go first, then don't count on me to lead nothing for you. But I honestly think that this decision, it truly was. You could gripe all you want and try to make the case for him all you want, but this is business as usual in the NBA. This really is the nature of things, and this is the culture of the business. Due largely in part to their salary. Coaches are a lot easier to replace than players are, and that's exactly what this is. I mean, somebody's got to take the blame. We can all admit that falling to the same fate, 2 years in a row in the same type of fashion. I understand this is the greatest player in the world, but this was the weakest team that we've seen LeBron play that's featured LeBron in recent memory. Everybody said it. If you have an opportunity, it is now. You know what I'm saying? Look for him not to stay in this position. And it's almost like it's a golden opportunity. And not only did you not seize it, but you didn't even come close. Like you weren't even. It's like they weren't even prepared for it. Because at this, you know who LeBron is. You know what type of animal his game is. You know how he's going to come at you. You know this. And y'all have known this all season. This is all the preparation, all of the rest, the deductions of the minutes, the additions of the new players, trying to implement the new playing style. And like it'd be different if they failed, but you said, okay, they fought hard and you see the change. But it literally looked like a rerun of last year. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The way that they went down, just like LeBron, turning them into baby dinosaurs. He really did have their way. He got their number in a major way. So I think that the situation, the lack of dynamics to the whole situation, and the lack of dynamics to their failure, you know what I'm saying? And with that, I mean changes. Y'all continue to fail in the same way. It's business as usual. We've seen guys do a lot more, I think, as far as or have a lot more excuse-wise. Oh, my goodness. That was quite a move as we take in some reruns of game, the last little, or as we take in some reruns from that Philly Celtics series. But to stay on task here, you got to see more improvement from the Raptors. Dwayne Casey ultimately being the head coach of that team, and them feeling like, games were close. With LeBron hitting 2 game winners, games were close. It's easy to say, okay, we can boil this down to coaching, and just wasn't good enough. And then, I mean, too, if you just look at the situation as a whole, you get swept both years. Let's forget the details. Let's forget the numbers. And let's forget all the things that you tried to do. At the end of the day, it was the same result. Sweep. The worst thing that can happen to you in the playoffs. It's embarrassing. It's demoralizing. It's a lose for Canada. Did y'all see Drake's face? Did y'all see his face? That was the face of the most ultimate defeat. Man, I'm telling you, he should replace the Jordan crying meme.
So you're the GM, president of basketball operations in Toronto. You got rid of him too. Is what you're telling me.
Gotta get rid of him. That's business as usual, because if you don't, it does something bad for the culture in my mind. It's saying like this is okay if nothing changes, you know, because those players you may or may not be able to move them. You know, you don't want to do something irrational or something that you know you don't want to hurt any of the value of your team. Trying to, you know, feeling like you got to change your personnel for players. So I think when you automatically remove the coach, you saying, okay, this is the man I put in charge. This is the man I ultimately gave the job to lead this campaign and to unify and galvanize these guys in this unit. He's got to go first because, I mean, he's at the head of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, I know it's a player's game, but it is. This is the easy cog to remove. If you don't move him, to me it does. It sends the wrong message. And once players see coaches get fired, it's like, well, they got coach out of here, and he won coach of the year. He did his job. You know, the league felt like he did his job the best out of everybody this year, and he lost his job. So you got to feel the pressure as a player. You know how things go. Coaches are easier to move, so he gets moved first. But he sets the tone for the change that you ultimately seeking if you're Toronto. Had to be done, and it's tough. But it is the nature of the business.
It's a
business
tough
for
business.
Years.
But
happened to Jason Kidd. Happened to Mark Jackson.
And you're good with it.
I mean, I'm not good with it, but it's almost like bad calls or bad no calls. Yeah, it sucks, but at least you're keeping it consistent. Dude, you know the league has been consistent on this.
So what are you saying?
Owners have been consistent in this.
You can't trade 15 players, so you got to get rid of the coach. You're good with that.
I'm good with it. This is business as usual.
Are you not? You disagree with the move?
I think it's a tough business being a coach in the NBA. One thing, I think he had one more year left on his contract, so he's going to be compensated one way or the other. But I don't know. The man won 59 games. He's going against the greatest player in the world. I'm not sure that deserve to fire him.
Oh, and this is the same man. This is the same man who felt like the Raptors had the ultimate chance, that LeBron was his most vulnerable and his most volatile, and now it's, this is the best guy in the world.
Chris,
what do you expect?
What about player culpability, though?
I get that.
So who do y'all blame the most in the Toronto Raptors? Who deserves the most blame? Obviously, they gave it to Casey.
The conversation is shifting to a place. It's enough blame for everybody. It's enough blame to go around. But it's about who can I get to first.
I recognize it's a tough business, but you don't have no problems with that move. None at all.
No, business as usual.
Yeah, I do. I'd have to say I have a problem with the move.
Of the business.
You don't think a move needed to be made, Pops?
Not necessarily.
It's just like when you.
So he's gonna go back with this team again, and hope LeBron ain't in the East.
Right.
I think he deserves one more. I can't see winning 59 games. Because you got swept in the playoffs, you out of a job. I'm not buying that.
We've seen
I don't
guys
care who's happened to, Chris. I don't like it. I don't like it.
We've seen guys have successful campaigns in the NBA, do well in the NBA, but it's a difference between it's good, better, and not good enough. And Dwayne Casey, you know, these last 2-3 years, he's been all three of those.
So we gonna get rid of Pop in San Antonio now? He can't get past.
Wait a
Golden
minute.
State?
What's the
I'm
name?
saying we gonna get rid of Pop in San Antonio.
Are
now?
you comparing those two?
No, I'm not.
What are you talking
that
about?
Crazy,
then?
Chris.
That's right. So throw that comparison out.
I mean, that's
what we do for Pop is light years different than what we do for Dwayne Casey. We talking about a champion here. Man, I'm not even gonna honor that question with a response. Man, what's the name of your boy who you said thought some things about the way I was thinking? He gonna have something.
No, I didn't say get rid of Pop. I said, so is that what we're gonna do? Because this is gonna be 3 straight years. He didn't get anywhere in the playoffs. Okay, let me ask you this, Chris. What about the boy down in Oklahoma City? What would you do with him? The coach down in Oklahoma City.
Billy Donovan.
Yeah, what happens to him?
Billy Donovan, you know, he's kind of been in a constantly changing situation.
Had 2 superstars. Couldn't get out the first round.
He did, but his team has been constantly changing. He's constantly been changing.
So he deserves another year, and Dwayne Casey doesn't?
I'm about to explain it to you. If you could just listen.
Okay. We can sing together. We
talk,
cannot talk together. Go ahead, Chris.
That's what I'm saying. This is solo, man.
Go ahead. I beat him up so bad last time. I'm going to give him a break today.
What I'll say about Billy Donovan's situation is this. Ultimately, Dwayne Casey has been with these stars, and he's the one who put them on the right track.
7 years.
7 years he's been with them, and there's been a consistent situation out there. They 2-star players: Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Dwayne Casey. Those three, they've been together trying to work it out against LeBron. For the absolute longest. Billy Donovan came in the league, rookie head coach. He had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant leaves, you know what I'm saying, after he had him up 3-1. Billy Donovan had him up 3-1 against the Warriors. He had him up 3-1. This is fact. Now, that is when you don't fire the coach. Like, we was up 3-1. Y'all boys, I had y'all doing the right thing. You laid down for him. The series was all but over. You laid down for him, man. You stopped fighting. That's when you don't get rid of the coach. Kevin Durant leaves. Okay, so now you got Russell Westbrook by himself, basically, pretty much. You coach him up that 1 year. Y'all narrowly missed the playoffs, but he's the triple-double king and gets MVP. The next year, you got a whole new team in. You trying to manage all of this talent with Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, Russell Westbrook. Nobody is in any locked-up situation. You know what I'm saying? Outside, really. Carmelo got the option. Paul George, you could have a completely new team next year. Like, so you can see how his situation is one that's a lot different. It's a lot more waves in his situation. It's constantly changing. It's hard to ask a coach to really, and to me, he's been very productive despite a volatile situation. He's put a good product out on the floor. They've been entertaining. They've been a team that you want to see win. You wanted to see them get into the playoffs. Outside of this year, obviously, the first round exit was a huge letdown for them. But I feel like they got out.
This man won 59. Chris, he won 59 games.
I understand.
What do you get paid to win in the playoffs or in the regular season?
Exactly. At some point, we gotta raise the bar, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's just like LeBron. He can't really prove anything.
I think he got dealt a dirty
in a regular
hand,
season.
He got dealt a dirty hand.
Is it going? Well, let's say this. Then what about if they move up one of their stars? You think he still got dirty? Wait, what if they start cleaning house? Like, hey man, we enough of this. What about DeRozan get traded? Would you still feel bad for him, or do you agree with that move? Like, hey, we got rid of the player, we got rid of the coach, we cleaning up house.
I think a team that wins 59 games, man, you just trying to improve on it, hope they get better.
Well, that's the thing. Them owners
Chris,
is paying the boys all that money.
Chris,
I'm not hoping for nobody to do nothing, giving them $60 million. I'm just not finna do it.
He didn't deserve one more year after winning 59 games.
No.
So tell me
business as usual. This is the nature of the business. Why are you acting like every coach that get fired have a losing season or because that's just not the case.
They dealt him a dirty hand.
That's just not the
Pop
case.
says they dealt him a dirty hand.
Well, do you want to see him get picked up next year by another team?
And
I
that's
think
the
he
thing.
can coach in the league.
Listen, he will. He will. When you a good coach and you lose your job, you get another opportunity.
Chris, the man won 59 games.
Man,
listen, my God.
I understand that.
He got beat by the best player in the world.
Right. No, he didn't just get beat.
Chris,
he got swept.
Again, like last time.
That means you lost twice.
Hey, Chris, that's what one of our listeners said last time. You never did answer a question. You know what that question was. I won't even bring it back up. But that was one of his complaints, Chris. What about player culpability, Chris? What you got to say about that?
I've touched on that already. If you refuse to listen, then I get it. But you and your fella, tell him. I'm touching on it right now. Coaches,
yeah, he said you ducked a few questions, Chris, last time. That was his complaint with you.
I'm explaining it right now. I'll exercise my option as an owner to be flexible with my head coach first. Because like I say, mostly due to salary, they're easier to move. It's easier to make a change at the coaching position first and foremost. It's an easy thing to do. And not only that, but you allow that whoever it is that you bringing in for the future job, you want him to have all the assets to work with from the past guy's campaign. So it's a bunch of assets. Why start moving said assets? I don't even know in what direction my team is moving until I get my new head coach. So you get the head coach out of there first. You get your new guy in. Let him assess your current situation and what he can use and cannot use moving forward for his plan. And then y'all work it out. But, you know, your brain got to work deeper than what you see on that hardwood, man. You got to understand that this is a business.
Hey, Chris, I know you don't know.
So I'm going to implore y'all. I'm going to implore you and your man, Teddy, slamming them to think like that next time.
Hey, Chris, I know you're not a baseball guy, but it reminds me of last year. Buck Showalter gets the Yankees. Not Showalter. Joe Girardi gets the Yankees within one game of the World Series.
This is a totally different sport, man. It's not applicable.
And loses his job.
I see where you going. It's not applicable.
Thing, man.
I see where you going. It's not applicable. The climate of those two sports and the way they feel about coaches and managers and guys at the helm is totally different.
We'll talk next spring, and we're gonna see what whoever gets the job does.
Hey, listen,
we'll talk next spring.
We all know you can lose your job at the drop of a hat in the NBA. I would think there are very few guys in the NBA who head coach that would describe their job status as secure. It is just not that type of job.
Don't make it right, Chris. That's my point.
But my whole thing is, it do make it right when you sign up for it. When you know what you're signing up for.
It's a tough business.
Man, listen, when you know what you're signing up for, Chris, it does make it right.
Man, we got to move on to the next series,
that man got dealt a dirty hand.
We got to move on, man. We got to move on.
If that's your response, if that's going to continue to be your response to everything that I've said, that he dirty hand, whatever that means. That a situation in life wasn't perfect. Hey, that's the way that it is.
Man. He got it. He lost his job, man. He lost the series, man.
Oh, the young fella.
Keep your head up, Casey.
Young fella.
Keep your head up, Casey.
Right.
Keep your head up,
there
man.
You go. The young fella got me a little upset now. I'm going to have to get after him now. I'm going to have to go after him.
Well, let's head out to Boston and Philly, man. This was a very exciting series, man. I was able to watch all the games, man, and I was very impressed, man. But what Boston was able to do, not impressed as much as Philly. You know, this was a series that people were saying, hey, we see Philly's going to the Eastern Conference Finals. A lot of people picked Philly to come out the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, they finished the season on, a 14-game win streak. You know, they were getting in a healthy Embiid back. Ben Simmons was looking like not only a Rookie of the Year candidate, but was looking like just a monumental player, you know, going forward as far as the generation's best player going forward. And ultimately they came up short, man, to a team that was shorthanded, man, lost their two best players, and, you know, somehow in some way found a way to scrap out of each game and finish them in 5. I mean, that was amazing to see, man. And I don't know how much of y'all seen of the series, but what is y'all take of the Boston and Philly series?
You excited to hear what I got to say about this one too?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm always excited to hear from you, Chris.
Go ahead.
I'm always excited to hear from the kids.
Okay, you know? Well, yeah, because I do. I really enjoyed this series in the way that it turned out for a few reasons. I thought it was really special though because, you know, we looking at LeBron and everything that he's doing, and I don't mean to keep bringing everything back to him. I know we talk about him enough, but I look at the greatness that is LeBron James, but I remember calling on him as a younger player, and asking him for more, asking him to be more, asking him to be able to do more. And, I mean, it was a call that he didn't always seem to be the most comfortable with. But, you know, it just reminded me that, man, when you're watching these guys, greatness is about growth. It doesn't happen overnight. So I watched the Celtics from where they were last year and just seeing, you know, all the young guys. Shout out to that boy Scary Terry. You know, shout out to all of those young boys just doing their thing, really coming on and continuing to grow. And and I just want to remind all of the dudes across the league now, it's not about where you at, but where you going, where you continue to push to be, how you continue to push to be. John Wall, Bradley Beal, y'all got to keep fighting. It's another level to this game. Y'all got to keep fighting to get there. You know what I'm saying? Russell Westbrook, everybody, y'all got to keep fighting to get to this next level. Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, wherever it is that y'all end up, however it pans out, don't stop fighting to get better because it's levels to this thing. And you're just seeing these two different teams at their different journeys. And then not only another thing, I thought it was very good for the NBA because like you said, a lot of people was choosing Philly. And it's because, I mean, it's easy to choose Philly. They got the biggest stars right now.
Mm-hmm.
They stars, everybody's kind of young. But when you think about the two big stars, like Scary Terry, they just kind of trying to emerge into stardom. But Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and all them, they not role players. They thought to be young stars. They young superstars.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you feel like Philly got the two biggest stars on the court. It's easy to pick them, but
it's easy to say Boston right now doesn't have a star.
Right,
I
right.
mean, they got one All-Star, Al Horford, who has a past of being underwhelming in the playoffs, but has played a very big part of what they've been able to do this year.
Absolutely.
But
and he's not getting enough credit. I don't mean, Coach, I just want to throw that in there. Go ahead.
But in a league where superstars usually dominate the game, that's not what we've seen so far in this series. And man, shout out to him. But I will say, I'll save this for later. But I will say, man, I'm not as big as Brad Stevens as everybody else is.
Well, like I said, to me, it's the way, it's what he brings out of these teams and what he gets out of his own system. I think he's getting the absolute most out of these young guys, and I think that he's maximizing everything that he's got on his team. You know what I'm saying? You see so many guys, they just had the numbers up, the averages. It's so many guys playing contributing basketball. When you see that, that's tough to beat. That's an element that the Spurs had, and I see this young Boston team kind of coming up and playing the same way. Everybody eats, B. You know what I'm saying? Hove had a saying, if everybody in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged. No one will fall because everyone will be each other's crutches. And that's the way I think about this Boston team. You've seen Jaylen Brown come out and have nights where he didn't shoot great. You've seen Jason Tatum. You've seen Jason Terry. You've seen all of them kind of have a game or a half where they're not at their A game, but they're able to stay in games with their defense and their unity and the everybody eats concept. Then we'll all get it done and we'll all make plays. And, I mean, that's exactly what you've seen every time. You see everybody getting some. And it's a great concept for a winning team. Just because guys don't seem to think that's something that can happen anymore. It's like you got to be with the best guys now, and that's just not true. So I love what the Celtics represent right now.
I'm not a fan of the city of Boston, but I love the way this team plays. Brad Stevens, I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the players, but the way they play, they are fun to watch.
Hey, that's
they
the
play
real
hard.
coach of the year. He did it around a nucleus of different guys.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have different role players, but he's had different, like his best guys. Like at one point, Avery Bradley was one of the better guys on that team. And you've seen like some of the more important guys, like guys who are part of the nucleus, guys who are leaders in the locker room. They have been moved and new guys have come in and they have been plugged in. And not only have they played well, but a lot of guys have played, the best ball of their career. Like Morris, he's playing the best ball of his career.
Hard-nosed, gritty guys, man.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys
fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
Al Horford,
fun to watch.
he's playing the best ball of his career.
To me, that's why I love Brad Stevens, but to me, as far as like him being like the greatest coach ever and all that stuff,
Not the greatest coach ever, but he was the best this year. That was the real coach
this is a playoff team that continually to benefit off of a terrible trade between the Boston and New Jersey Nets. When they traded Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and they were able to have a playoff team. I mean, these guys.
That's not their fault, though.
But I'm saying, though, the guys that
and Brad Stevens didn't even make that deal. That was Danny Ainge. That's his play.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
I think a lot of credit goes to Danny Ainge as far as like the team that he's been able to put around, the trades, the drafting. I mean, Marcus Smart is a draft pick. Tatum is a draft pick. Jaylen Brown is a draft pick. Terry Rozier is a draft pick, and these guys are first round, top 10
exactly.
picks. So
and
I'm saying
a lot of egos, a lot of talent, a lot of expectation, a lot to manage, a lot to temper as a head coach. Because guess what? You still got to manage the minutes, and not to mention that. But yeah, you talk about a lot of talent, but very rarely have they all been healthy at once. I just wanted to make those 2 points.
You think he's special, Chris?
That as a coach, absolutely.
But
I think he's the future.
I'm saying
he's the future of coaching.
I kind of agree.
Losing your top 2 players and falling back on 2 top 3 picks, even though they're young, they're still 2 top 3 picks.
Hey, but
how many people lose their top 2 players and still got 2 top 3 picks?
Okay, well, look at Philly, though. I mean, you talking about 2 lottery picks that they just went up against. Yeah, they're a little bit younger, but in theory, shouldn't they be better? And they weren't.
Who younger? Well, they would be the same age.
No,
Jaylen Brown and Simmons would have been in the same draft. And then Embiid, obviously.
Okay, but to me they younger though because Jaylen Brown done played in the playoffs and everything. Ben Simmons has not.
But I'm saying Jaylen Brown is a top 3 pick.
That's one. Them boys got 2.
Jason Tatum's a top 3 pick. He's just a rookie.
Them boys got 2. They got 2. Them bigger stars, man. Like we said, we can for some reason.
I'm just saying,
do we consider Embiid and Ben Simmons to be bigger stars?
Hey, Chris. On another side, just a quick while it's
even
on my
in
mind.
college though, they was bigger stars in college than those dudes that you named. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, they were way higher profile players.
Tatum was the man at Duke though.
Chris, quick question for a slip.
Duke guys are never good. First of all,
hey Chris.
So can we say that he's doing something special?
What about Kyrie Irving? What about Kyrie Irving?
Okay, get the Kyrie, the one who broke the curse. But you still, I don't expect Duke guys to be good.
Hey, Chris, right quick on a quick other subject since you reminded me, I don't want it to slip my mind. Should Terry Stotts keep his job in Portland?
No. Okay. And here's why. And I'm going to say that because.
Similar to Casey?
Right. Similar to Casey.
Okay, we can go back to Boston, but I just wanted to ask you that.
And not only that, but I think if you getting ready to move star players, and I definitely said if those guys lose, they needed to, they got to shake that backcourt up. It's just not working. I feel that to be true. But to me, if players are gone, the head coach is definitely gone. Based on what I just said earlier about
so Stotts should
about
should
the
be
order
out?
of things. Yeah, Stotts should be out.
Okay.
Hey, Pop. So this was.
I don't want to get off track.
This was a conversation because now you got me off track. Me and Chris had this conversation. What would you put together a package for C.J. McCollum or Damian Lillard if you were the Cavs GM using that first round pick? And what type of package would you put together?
It depends,
if you were,
it depends on where it falls.
Okay. So if it's a top 5 pick, would you trade it?
I could get Damian. I don't know the cap ramifications.
If it's a number 1 pick, would you trade it? Or is there somebody in college that you're willing to?
No. If it's number 1 pick, I might have to go get that big boy. I might have to.
If it's a number 1 pick, you absolutely trade it. No, both of those
for Damian.
To me, for either of them.
For C.J. McCollum. Dez, you might have more game than him. Come on, man.
What? Come on. Oh, y'all crazy. You be
Dez,
getting out of pocket sometimes, man.
McCollum, man.
Hey, all right.
You see what New Orleans did to these clowns, man? Come on, man.
Hey, New Orleans played really good.
Come on, man.
But I will say about though even in Portland's losses. Man, you saw what y'all got.
Hey, like. I'd have to consult Bron, see which way he wants me. Right.
Hey, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe not so much for CJ. Maybe CJ, you think about that a little bit more.
I ain't giving up no number 1.
Listen,
I wouldn't give up no number 1 for CJ.
All right, not for CJ, but like I'm saying, the more since you brought up Bron, you heard Bron's remarks.
Yeah, he put it in the air.
What he would be able to do.
Give me
with
Lillard,
Damian
and we
Lillard.
good.
Damian Lillard is somebody. He's got a nice catch and shoot game. He could get hot. He could hit the threes.
But that's another subject for us today, or I don't know when you want to talk about it. The failures of Paul George and Damian Lillard in these playoffs. Yeah. Neither one of them stepped up, Chris.
No, they didn't.
Did we mention that last time what Paul George did in that last game?
Well, we kind of focus on the winners. We always go forward with the guys that's doing it.
We talk up and down about OKC, man. We definitely.
But these big superstars trying to team up, and then the superstars.
Damian ain't teamed up with nobody.
No, but I'm saying.
No, but one thing I am think that they learning is that it's about more than just talent. That's what OKC showed everybody.
Yeah.
I think
that's what Boston showed.
Yeah, but for some reason people tend to think that it's sweet in the East. So I feel like if something happened
the thought is that LeBron may want to team up still. Still has that thinking, right?
Well, my whole thing is LeBron, I'm not going to lie, staring down the barrel at the Golden State Warriors, absolutely. I need more talent around me than what y'all got me playing with right now. I hope y'all don't think this is enough. Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I don't want to go too off topic. Maybe you don't even want to answer this. You don't think we match up well against them at all?
Golden State?
I think we match up better this year than we did last year.
Oh, hell no. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think defensively, not offensively. I know Kyrie.
Where points going to come from, dude?
I said defensively we match up better. I think the size that we got and the length we got
is
different.
I don't think we match up good enough to account for everything that we lost.
So we're going to give them
when
if we
ultimately
get there,
this
we'll
an
give them a
offensive
better
team.
series, is what you're saying, than we did last year?
If you would have asked me in the first round of the playoffs, I would have said no. But seeing what they've been able to do and let's see, and we play tomorrow. If they keep building on this, yes, we match up better. For some reason, their defensive, they feel comfortable switching.
I just don't think it's enough offensive firepower, man.
This may be the best defensive group we've seen since we won the championship. You know, we won that last year. We didn't play defense well, and it seemed like when we was going against Golden State, we just didn't match up. It was always a mismatch around the floor.
So you're saying on the switches,
I agree.
The pick and roll, we'll
all I remember was all of the dunks
so.
that Kevin Durant was getting.
It just looked too easy last year.
So he was killing. I said, man, he wasn't doing nothing, running to the hole and dunking.
Huh?
Where the points gonna come from?
Now that's different. But defense wins championships. But if LeBron give you 45 a night, you'd be all right.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Only reason why I'm not crazy about this team is because it reminds me of the depleted team that LeBron faced them with for the very first time.
In 2015?
Yeah, we seen LeBron average 40 with triple-double vision.
Yeah, but that team didn't have Kevin Durant.
And exactly, that's what I'm saying. And we lost to them then. So, but now they got Kevin Durant.
So there's no chance, is what y'all saying.
I don't really feel. I ain't gonna never say there's no chance because LeBron has ascended to the level where you never say never.
The only thing is, I don't think LeBron's gonna check Kevin. Well, who's gonna check KD if LeBron doesn't?
And that's the thing. I feel like last year we had more options for KD. You could let Shumpert get a piece. You let JR get a piece.
Well, Shumpert didn't play.
To me, you gonna put Gerald Green on him though. I know
Jeff
that's
Green.
what. Jeff Green. They're gonna put Jeff Green on him. Pardon me. You put Jeff Green on him. I heard that's why he was put into the starting lineup to prepare the minute spread for him to check KD. I heard that, and or there was some speculation that was the reason why.
Well, one thing that
hey, don't you think you better get by Boston first?
No,
I don't want to look too far ahead, but I think we got Boston covered.
Listen, you still ain't learned your lesson, huh?
Don't
you still ain't learned your lesson.
Boston first?
You still doubting Bron?
So you think Boston got a chance, Pops?
No, Bron. Ain't nobody needs to beat Bron 4 times.
Oh, no,
it ain't gonna happen.
Y'all was so big on Houston. We not seeing Houston in the finals? Houston has no chance?
I think Houston is a team. I think they've kind of squandered.
This was y'all NBA Finals a couple shows ago.
Yeah, it
was the
was.
Houston Golden State.
No.
That's the show. That's the show right there.
It is. And now, but it's like all other things. I understand that Houston playing so well throughout the regular season that in the way that they play, it's easy for them to kind of fall asleep, on the rest of the West. I do think that they did kind of feel, even the way that they lost the first game. They lost the first game at home, didn't they? No,
they lost the second game.
They lost the second game, rather.
But it was home.
But they dropped the game early at home, gave up home court advantage, but you saw them still wrap it up in 5.
Did y'all see the interaction between Chris and Harden getting into it a little bit? I think it was the game that they lost. Chris kind of, I think they was arguing about it like a defensive play, but Chris hungry. And I think didn't he have 40 in one of the closeout games?
In the closeout game, the last game that they played,
hey,
he had 41.
Welcome to the Western Conference
threes?
Finals, man. It took him a while.
I don't want it. And shout out again. Go back on the wax. Check us out. Shout out to our fans who've been rocking with us. Who said it? Chris Paul? That young boy's a lion, and he's a Hall of Famer, and he's a point guard. Who said all that? Who said that he won't back down in the biggest moment? Who said that? I seen it in his eye when he dropped it off the glass in Tim Duncan's face. I seen it in his eyes, man. That boy a killer, and he a go getter, but he just a point. He really wanna help you do your thing and help everybody.
So what he gonna do against Golden State?
Man, he's gonna show up. And to me, his matchup is the most important because I'm not gonna lie, it's documented. Steph and Curry seems to have Chris Paul's number in a similar way the way LeBron has guys in the East number. He just brings out his A game on Chris Paul, probably because he got so much respect for him. But man, oh man, does he serve him?
So what do you want to see out of Chris Paul in the series? You want to see him?
As the Indians just narrowly miss a double play, we got to make that.
Chris got to play well.
Chris
and James.
Chris
both have to play well
exactly.
every game. They
Every
have to play
game.
well.
What about y'all like
And
the
he
big
has-
man matchup between McGee?
Well, no. I take that back. They don't even have to play well every game, but they both have to play well every game at home. That's what they've done for themselves. That's gonna make this series more interesting than I think people think. I think people sleeping on.
You got to win one and
great
Golden
home
State,
team. Houston is a great home team. No, Golden State got to win one in Houston.
and they will. I'm telling you, they going to win one in Golden
I'm
State.
not gonna argue with that. Them boys champions. They listen.
You heard
This ain't
Reg-
their first rodeo. But I'm just saying, Houston, if they really man up on their home court in H-Town, though, they could keep saying, oh, this the one. And they keep that, no, this ain't the one.
Yeah.
And this ain't the one. And then before you know it, it's game 7. And now I think that situation in Houston with that crowd and the way that them boys can get going, knocking that 3-ball down, that high octane, exciting offense, the way that they can feed that crowd in Houston, I do think that's scary. Truly, that puts real, like us right now, like I don't think our team right now puts any fear in their heart. They know LeBron James enough. They got enough schemes for LeBron to say, he not about to beat us. Him alone, he can't beat us. We just too good.
Mm-hmm.
You can't beat us with one guy. We don't care who he is. Mike couldn't beat us by himself. You know, not 96 Mike, Space Jam Mike couldn't beat him by themselves. These the Monstars, man. He gonna need some help. So I'm telling you, at some point, they just know if they play us, some secret stuff gonna have to come out for the rest of these guys. we know what Bron gonna do for the rest of them though. Okay. So I think that's where but Houston, they play a good enough team game and they play good enough defense to where it's not like that.
You think Houston matches up well with Golden State?
I do. Especially with the way that Clint Capella has come on, not just on defense but on offense. Obviously, you know, it's a mismatch for the perimeter players. When you get a big on a perimeter player, that's a mismatch for the perimeter guys on defense. But as the Indians, did they turn that double play?
They turned that one.
As they turn that double play and go ahead and get off the field, tie 1-1. We watching the Indians do their thing right now live. We got a Kansas City Royals. Where we at? They downtown? Yeah, they downtown today. Kansas City Royals 1-1 update on the game. But what I will say is the Houston Rockets as a team, they put fear in the Golden State's heart. When they going, they look a lot like Golden State. When they really going and they spreading that ball around and them shots is falling, yeah. That believe that's scary to them. And they got the perimeter guys. They got the perimeter guys to throw at them in the switch. They just got them. They would is Maba Mute back? Is he back?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I know he was hurt for a while. I know he had got hurt.
Is he on Houston?
I don't know if he on Houston. He on Houston?
Maybe I'm thinking about somebody else.
Like he got the Maba Mute. He play like the foe. Man, y'all know who I'm talking about.
I know you. I thought he was on Portland, to be honest.
No, he don't play for Portland, man.
Chris, are you saying Houston's gonna win that series?
I'm saying Houston got a chance. I think they got a more real chance. The fact that they got home court advantage, I think that this is gonna be one of those series that the longer that it goes on, the more and more confidence we can see Houston get. And I'm telling you, once it get to 6 games, and they got enough star power now to where you got to really respect them. So, to me, Golden State got to have the same approach that LeBron had against Toronto. Like, we can't let this go no long time. I think that this series gets really hard. It gets really hard for Golden State if it goes past 5 games.
Dad, is Draymond Green the most valuable player on the Golden State Warriors roster?
Absolutely not.
So who is?
Mr. Durant.
What about you, Chris? You agree?
Man, I'm going to have to, vastly disagree with this man. And I use that word vast because it's a number of reasons. It's a multitude of reasons why he is not the best player, but he's most definitely the most valuable player. And for one, it's the two-way value that he gives you. You know what I'm saying? He's a top-notch playmaker, leads the team rather in assists for Golden State. This is a team that, you know, when they killing you, they can get 30 assists on you a night. Draymond Green, his ability to rebound the ball, clean the glass, and then go coast to coast with it and make plays for either himself or his teammates. Top-notch plays now. Plays that don't always, they are not going to be assists. A lot of them going to be hockey assists, and it's going to be second and third passes off his pass that's going to get them those wide-open jumpers in transition that they love so much. That's their bread and butter that they kill people with. The broken plays, the back taps, and things that he create for that team, that's what they kill you with. The second chance opportunities, the runouts and all of that. We see Kevin Love, the touchdown passes and things. When he does that, that's what kills us. That's what kills teams. And Draymond is the most important catalyst for that. And then we're gonna go to the defensive end. He's the most versatile defender in the entire league. The way he can play up, you can put him at the 5 and switch everything moving. He could check perimeter guys and win. I mean, one of the reasons why we won, Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love at different times, but mainly Tristan, where we were able to switch and win with him. You know what I'm saying? And win is just be able to create misses. When you got a guard going one-on-one with a 4 or a 5, a big man, listen, that's a matchup that his team is expecting him to win 8-9 times out of 10. And then in today's league, the guards do. So any misses that you can manufacture in that situation, when you get that 1-4, 1-5 screen and roll, high screen and roll, especially against Curry, you know, against Kevin Durant, these baddest boys in the land, man, those are huge, huge wins. So I think that Draymond in today's league, it's a pick and roll league. It's a league that's played out on the perimeter. You see 4s and 5s shooting 3s and stuff now. That does not bother Draymond. He can come out there and check you at 30, 25, 30 feet. Not a big deal for him. It's nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just think that with those factors for this team, at that position is so big for them, especially with their deficits on defense. You see teams try to attack Curry. You see teams try to attack, you know, different guys in the lineup. But in your best tool usually being the screen and roll. Draymond negates a lot of those mismatches. And from the leader standpoint, he's the leader of their team. He's the source of that team's edge.
Pops
and mental
rolling,
toughness.
Man. Pop said he ain't rolling,
He gives them, he give them all their heart. He give them all their passion. He know how to stir this team up and challenge him in the right type of ways. I done seen him go to KD and get in his chest and tell him it's time to man up. I done seen him go to Steph and pat him on the back of the head and say, "Lil bro, it's time to rock." He they captain, man. He they leader, and ultimately they go as Draymond Green go. And the only time that we seen him fall in they little run is when Draymond got suspended Game 5, and the Cavs built up enough momentum for the greatest man in the game to be able to dominate him the way he needed to win. But he had to miss a game, though, for it to happen. And I'm just telling you.
That's a good point.
He's that big. He's that big for those guys. It's always a glue guy that holds everything together. You got your shooters. You got your scorers. You got your playmakers and everything. And then it's that other guy who does. You know, he might have another role too, but it's somebody who holds it tight. And he makes everybody else go. And he makes everybody else elevate their game. And that guy, man, listen, when he plays like Draymond Green for a team like the Golden State Warriors, he's absolutely your most important player and your most valuable player.
I still disagree.
Why though? Why though? It's not enough to just say that you disagree.
Talent-wise, KD.
Talent-wise. So the game is all about talent.
KD is arguably one of the top 20 players to ever play in this league, man. I don't even think it's close.
I will say this. And this just speaks to the type of player that Draymond Green is. But he is. He's
very important.
He's the most valuable. He's the most valuable on Golden State, but he would be the most valuable on another team. But the margin for the second most valuable player, man, it would be 100 times greater. His wide berth on that second man would be 100 times greater on any other team. That because the Golden State got so much talent. But if he played for,
I don't agree with that.
If he played for Portland, man,
because I think Draymond.
Hey, check this out. The team that Portland had this year, if you put Draymond on that team with C.J. McCollum and what's the name and take him off Golden State, man, they'd beat Golden State. He'll play KD just good enough. He'll play KD just good enough, and they'll beat Golden State.
That's a good fit for him, but I don't see him being a good fit everywhere. You know, if you be like, hey, you the number one guy. No,
he's not that type. He's not that type of guy.
Well, I think maybe I understood you wrong, nigga. You said if he goes anywhere else, the impact of him being the most valuable player would be so much greater than anybody. It's just that Golden State is not that big.
I mean, because he still can give you the same type of lift. But what I'm saying, that lift that he gives Golden State is so detrimental because they already so good.
Oh, he couldn't get off the bench in the Olympic team. Chris, give me a break. You comparing this man with Kevin Durant. Couldn't get off the bench for the Olympic team, man. Come on.
Man, listen.
Come on, couldn't get off the bench for the Olympic team, Chris.
That's a different kind of
ball.
Chris,
he couldn't get off the bench for the Olympic team. Now you telling me they most valuable player. Give me a break, man. There's.
Hey, Pops, man, we got you fired up, man. Pops, let's move to baseball, man.
This Chris, sometimes he makes some crazy. Chris, he
man,
couldn't get off the bench.
That's your point? Chris, you talking about some intramurals?
Chris,
that's the point you made?
He couldn't get off the bench for the Olympic team. Now you telling me he's better than KD? He's more valuable than KD?
If that's the case,
come on, man.
Who got the most gold medals in NBA history?
Yeah,
Carmelo. How much credit you willing to give him for stuff that he did?
Chris, you got more playing time.
How much credit you willing to give Melo for everything he did
man.
On the Olympic team? Since you want to bring up Olympic team,
come on,
this playoffs.
You mean to tell me he's better than KD?
You sound like the fool. You sound like the fool.
You mean to tell me he's better than KD?
I'm about to take you to
He's more valuable than KD. Come on, Chris. You can't be serious.
We can sing together. We can't talk together. Tell me when you through. Tell me when you through.
He's more valuable than a two-time MVP.
We know you ain't gonna do nothing but keep saying the same thing.
Oh,
go ahead,
God.
say it 3-4 more times.
Yes,
I mean to tell you that
the kid.
I'm not
is really
giving nobody. I'm not giving nobody no credit or taking nothing from nobody. But it's something that you do over the summer for fun. Like, come on, man, knock it off. He talking about what he did on the USA team.
Coach K, call the show. Call the show, Coach K.
Listen. All I'm telling
Call
you
the show,
this.
Coach K.
All I'm telling you is this, man.
And educate this young man. He makes some statements.
And tell him how much of a champion that he is. You can ask any of those guys who play on that USA team if they like an opportunity to play with Draymond, man.
Well, they didn't because he was sitting on the bench, Chris.
Listen, he going to tell them, man, don't ask us no silly questions, man.
Yeah.
I want him to come to my team ASAP.
Okay, Coach K.
Pops, man, what's going on with the Indians, man? What's going on with the Indians? They can't hit.
Well, they've been scoring lately.
They playing 500 baseball. What's going on?
Oh, that bullpen is a mess, man. Y'all used to, Brian Shaw, y'all wanted to run him out of town. Now y'all miss him. It was too much to pay him $9 million, but that's the key. And then when Andrew Miller got hurt, that bullpen went to hell. Then the starters, they couldn't, they couldn't carry. They've been having to carry too much of a load. But that bullpen is key in baseball. You want to get to the 6 innings and you want to get 9 outs. And with our starting staff, we should be able to do that. But the bullpen is in a shambles now. When Andrew Miller got hurt, the roles changed. Guys had to step up. We just don't have that 6th, 7th inning guy.
So what you saying, we haven't responded to adversity then? Because injuries, I mean, that happens.
Yeah, but
when you talk about 160-plus game season, surely we not going to say, oh, injuries happening.
No,
you counting on some injuries over the course of 160-plus games.
The bullpen just wasn't as strong this year as last year with the loss of Shaw. Remember, you could get to the 5th inning. Shaw would give you innings 6 and 7. Then you could go to Miller and Allen, game over. Mm-hmm. And they don't have that same recipe this year.
That transition from the late middle part of the game into the actual closing.
Yeah, because they basically turned it into a 5-6 inning game with as strong as they bullpen. Just like the Yankees and these teams with these great bullpens. Because these arms nowadays in baseball are just coming in shutting people down. Mm-hmm. So if you can get with our starting pitching, it's going to give you 6 strong innings. All you got to do is get 9 outs from that point on. Brian Shaw was a part of that. And the thing is, Brian Shaw would make 70 appearances a year.
It seems like you're right. As they smack one deep into the gap.
But that's it. The bullpen is just hurt us this year. I'm sure by the trading deadline they're gonna have to bring in a couple arms for that bullpen. I mean, it's gonna be a must. In our division,
is it gonna be too late?
No, because we'll win this division because the pitch is still strong.
About how many games are we in?
This is about
30.
Close
to 40.
Yeah, close to 40. They say, you got Memorial Day, and then you around July 4th.
You say Memorial Day, you'll really start being able to speak to where
speak
these
to
teams are at, though.
But right now, our bullpen is just hasn't been as good.
How's my boy doing? Is he still hitting?
Who?
The Japanese pitcher, or I don't want to call him Japanese.
I really haven't.
The young pitcher.
Oh yeah, the guy in California.
Right.
I think he's doing a little damage, but I haven't really been keeping up with them.
Oh man, he say he's a real phenom though. From what I understand, we haven't seen a player like that who's really in a position to be able to play both sides of the ball.
He got a couple hits early in the season.
A pitcher.
We gotta wait till the All-Star break.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying. Break on him.
Well, at Memorial Day, you'll really be able to speak to this guy, though, right? Because I want to know from a real savant. I'm talking about a real professional,
give me
real student of the game. How real is he?
Give me about 3 more weeks.
Because they say the kid's a real phenom.
Give me about 3 more weeks. I'll break it down.
And I ain't gonna lie, hey, I watched the gyms, man, and he can pitch. He can pitch. He throwing some heat.
Give me about 3 more weeks. I better tell you something more about the kid.
All right, then. Well, y'all hear that, man. Gamepoint podcast, man. 3 more weeks, man. We're going to give y'all some crucial baseball breakdown. You know, the finals will be up too, man. But before we wrap it up, man, we got 2 more topics, man, regarding football, man. That pigskin, man. Not football. We ain't talking soccer. Chris want to give you a little breakdown on Baker Mayfield and why or why not should we be big on Baker Mayfield, man.
I just want to go ahead and give my city some worthwhile advice. Calm down. I know y'all been hearing the murmurings. Baker Mayfield has been extremely impressive in these early workouts. This rookie mini camp, he's been real impressive, not just as a player but as a leader. But let's trust the process. You know, the same way they say out there in Philly, let's trust the process. Let's understand that, you know, our ideal situation won't come overnight. Ultimately, if we work our team the right way and things are really going our way, Baker Mayfield will be able to be a process. And, you know, we won't see him his rookie year. If this team really plays up and plays at the level that I think that they can play and, you know, that we're equipped to play, we shouldn't see Baker Mayfield his rookie year. You know what I'm saying? So it's nice to, you know that he's there and to know that he's growing and that he's getting better every day, hopefully. But don't get too excited, Cleveland, and get to calling for the boy too early now. Because I think y'all are ruining him in that way.
And we've done that so many times in the past, man.
Absolutely.
Just not being able to let a quarterback grow on that bench, man.
And I mean, and Tyrod Taylor is a big part of that. He's got to play good enough to keep the city from you know, getting too impatient.
Well,
we will.
Brian Hoyer played good enough and the city got impatient. That was my thing.
Well, my whole thing is you got to make it last 16 games. You can't play good the first 5 or 6, and then you go to, you know, your things really fall apart for you the remainder of the season. No, you're not going to make it 10 games throwing picks and leaving points on the board, and we ain't scored a touchdown in 8-9 quarters. Like, no, yeah, sure. The city is going to call for a change. They don't care who it is. Put Sidney Koalas in there. We don't care. So not this guy though. You know what I'm saying?
Is Hugh Jackson our guy?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I called for a change after last year. It wasn't even the record that did it for me. It was when he fumbled the situation with the rookie. And I'm talking about Deshaun Kaiser. And I just feel like if you a coach and you 1-31 over the last 2 seasons, clearly we are not paying you. We are not believing in you for what you have going on right now. So it must be your plans for the future. And you know how I know it's different politics that go into who you get, but at the end of the day, Deshaun Kaiser, he got drafted as your quarterback, and you took him on. So my whole thing is this: you're not doing anything for me now. Clearly, all your value is in your plans for the future. When you fumble your plan for your rookie quarterback, the guy who is supposed to be, you know, the face of the future moving forward, and who has some potential, you know what I'm saying? He does have some potential. I don't feel like he was a stone cold bum. But if you start him, let him start.
Mm-hmm.
You started him, and I didn't think that was a good move, but I understand options were slim. But you started him. Let him start. Don't pull him and hurt his confidence. Like, don't do that. If you got a plan for a guy, he a rookie. But so what that did is that showed me the weakness in his plan and in his outlook moving forward. He didn't have a strong plan. He didn't have anything that he really believed in. And to me that bothered me because I'm not getting anything from you presently. So that your plan for the future, it's gotta be rock solid. It's like when you're trying to make a woman believe in you, you want her to marry you. Yeah, you don't got nothing now, but I'm selling you on the plan on who I'm about to be. Baby, I'm in school. You know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm on the rise. For Hugh Jackson, he's that guy. He's trying to sell the city on why we should trust him moving forward, why we should enter into this marriage with him long range moving forward and give him another, 3 to 5 years to continue to work this thing out. He's trying to sell us on the fact that at the end of the day, it's going to be a light at the end of this tunnel. Because these is the darkest of days right here. When you bobble a situation like that that's so critical to our future, it is. It's like, the future's going to be this, that, and the third. And then you get the failing classes and stuff. Why you in college? Man, your girl ain't believing in that.
Do you like the tone that Dorsey is setting? Organization?
I do. I'll step out and say it. Yeah,
Man,
he set the tone early with the draft.
It's got to make a difference first. To me,
it do. It's
got to make a difference first. And then not only that, but I'm not going to lie, it kind of seemed like more of the same. They had a good free agency. But, I mean, to me, they took a half step back with that draft. And I could be wrong. I would love to the end of the season for me to be 100% wrong about this. But to me, they misevaluated their picks at the draft.
I think
not terrible picks. They just misevaluated the value.
I think they big on Garrett, though. They said, I know when I heard Greg Williams, our defensive coordinator, talk, he said, hey, Garrett was a half step away, $500,000 a second away to making that sack. And they believe with a shutdown corner, if your guys can't cover long enough for my guy to get there, they believe Garrett will be able to make those plays if they can get a little bit of better defense. So they feel like, hey, we don't need a defensive end because it ain't going to matter if our corners is getting beaten in 2 seconds.
My whole thing is, it is, yeah, and I guess I kind of get it. But to me, giving something more to worry about. All right, yeah, if the corner getting beaten 2 seconds, you get there in 1.8. Like, if I give you 2 guys to worry about now, if I give you 2 guys, to me, the best defensive lines, though, and even the better defense, man, they got 2 guys. Rather it be an interior guy or rather they got a good guy, a rotation of solid guys, you know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, the good defensive units, when it come to putting pressure, man, it's 2 guys.
You hit it out? I ain't get no reaction. y'all ain't let us know, man. Lindor done hit one out, man, to tie the game up. Is that out? That's out?
Yeah, Lindor just smacked the homer, tied the game up 2-2 at the bottom of the third. We got Indians in Kansas City action going live here in the studio. But what I will, back to the subject, though, those Browns, we'll see what the culture is this year. Because, I mean, like you say, if y'all really loving and y'all sold on what they did in the draft and what they did, and we know the free agency was strong, definitely added some talent to the roster, definitely got a little younger as well. We'll see. But this year, all the warm-up years, hey, this is your team now. Ultimately, the people that's here, these is the guys that you would have gotten. Like, no matter what. Like, these is your guys to deal with. Rather you loved them or didn't love them, whatever. In conjunction with, your manager, your general manager, and your scouts, and this is your program, though. Whoever it is you split the authority with, it ain't really our fault. That's just the nature of this business and the position that you got. So I'm just saying, it ain't like, oh, these is the last guys, or none of that. These is your guys for your system. They came off your short list, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's time to produce now. It's time to produce.
Pops, on a lighter note, who the F is Tom Brady?
They say that's what Ichiro asked when he was texted by Tom about some stretching, that Tom was interested in his stretching routine. And they said Ichiro said, who the F is Tom Brady? I was just wondering, did he really not know who Tom Brady was? Was he so wrapped up in his baseball career? I just thought it was a funny story, that somebody would not know who Tom Brady was, who was in sports.
Yeah, and as Americans, I think we can be, so caught up in our own cultures, That we just assume that everything that we are into or everybody that we like or that we know about, that everybody's into him or that everybody knows about him. But I mean, ultimately, is he in fact Japanese?
Yeah, he's Japanese.
The Japanese culture and the American culture, I mean, they differ a lot. You know what I'm saying? Even I don't know what he does with his off season, but I imagine it's a good chance he probably spend a lot of time at home. So you think
you don't think he's pulling anybody's leg? He might not have known who he was.
Yeah, he might not have known who he was.
I just thought it was a funny story.
I definitely think that if you're a competitor and if you're an athlete. You want to find out. And not only that, but shout out to Tom Brady, man, because just let you know he's got nothing to prove, all of the Super Bowl rings and everything, and here he is
trying to get better.
Trying to get better, almost 40, and he reaching out to a Japanese baseball player
who's known for his stretching routines.
Stretching routines and his maintenance on his body, trying to learn and find a new way to innovate, to take his game to another level or maintain his game for another year, another season. And it speaks to the dedication of greatness. We've been just talking about greatness so much. Who needs to get there? Who's trying to get there? How do they get there? But Tom Brady, he really is, as he can just continue to be the true embodiment of competition. Like, I hate to say it, but I think he about to take that mantle from Jordan. Just the fierce competitiveness. Just in your, I'll bite your face off for this. I gotta have it. Whatever it takes. It's nothing too much and nothing I won't eat. It's nothing I won't put down. It's no amount of time in a hyperbolic time chamber. The chrono. I'm about that. They was just talking about upwards of 7 figures. All the money LeBron spends. Just on the maintenance of his body, taking care of his body. Listen, kids.
Is it
listen,
much
sports
now?
Fans. At that level, they said 7 figures a year. Annually,
his body, just trying to
on
get
his
it right.
body, just on his body, trying to get it right. Man, listen,
guys don't spend $100 on their bodies.
It's earned. Greatness is earned.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Sure that's whatever he's paying his guys who work with him. I told you he had the hip guy, and he's also got one guy's on the cabinet that's been working with him for years, but he's got this new guy that's helped with his back.
Yeah.
I'm sure
we didn't see any back problems this year.
Yeah, no. That's been a couple of years he's been working with. That was the guy.
Well, that's his thing that he say when he need a break, though.
Yeah, but they said that was the guy.
Spasms.
I guess he was maybe a Navy SEAL or something who had I think I told you guys that story. It had maybe a guy that hurt in war.
Okay.
And we kind of rehabbed himself. I think that's how it goes. And
okay.
Bron found out about him down there in Miami, and Bron hired him, and now he works on Bron's body. Yeah.
Shout out to Bron.
Like I say, man, you gotta earn it.
Man, but that's a lot of money, man. Do you think he really spends that money?
Yeah, to spend a meal on the body.
Think about how much though you making though.
Yeah.
When you an athlete, your body it's your greatest asset.
I know it's his money maker, but
man, it's worth it, man.
I know. Obviously, it's worth it because of what he does. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's like reinvesting.
That's a lot of money.
It's
man.
reinvesting.
It
Think about how much money he made just playing basketball.
Yeah.
All the I ain't talk
it.
about all the business and stuff outside of basketball. Everything that's related to basketball, though, and all the endorsements and everything that he made ultimately because who he is on the court.
It works for him.
I mean,
whatever
you put $1 million back into it.
He trying to play to Bronny Jr. In the league, man. That's his goal, man. I really think that's his goal to play with his son in the NBA.
That'd be crazy.
His son become a freshman next year, I think. So he got 5 years then?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on, I just had one quick question since it was kind of funny to me that Ichiro didn't know who Tom Brady was. If y'all had to guess, or who would y'all think current or in the past is the biggest known athlete around the world? Just
Michael Jordan.
Just being able to go to any third world
Michael
country,
Jordan.
anywhere across the nation. I'm going with Muhammad Ali.
Michael Jordan. Boxing, I mean,
it's one of those two.
I think that
LeBron James up there now too.
Yeah.
But it's I think I've seen reports where it was Ali, but it might probably up there too, Jordan. But
just because Ali did so much outside of boxing,
right?
All right.
That's what I'm saying. He transcend the sport so much.
But y'all think Jordan still is well known?
I think when you talk about for the work in the actual sport, I think it's Jordan. I think just as a figure, period, It may be Ali, but man, it's people who know Ali to be as an activist. It's like women and stuff. Yeah, they might know he was a boxer, but you know they know him as an activist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, didn't want to go to war for a company. You know, for a country that he felt like didn't really.
So current players is LeBron then? No question.
Yeah, no question in my
sport?
mind.
Yeah, LeBron.
LeBron's the biggest sports figure. Period.
Or Tiger Woods.
No, not Tiger anymore. Not anymore.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's still around though. Like, he's still golfing. Tiger Woods is a recognizable guy.
Hey, y'all, another funny story. Did y'all hear the one about? I always can tell you guys these funny stories. When Tiger used to hang with Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan, y'all hear that story?
No.
I think you told me once before.
Yeah, Tiger said, Tiger asked Charles and Mike, what do you say to the women when you come across them? Mm-hmm. You know what they told him?
What they say?
Tell them you're Tiger Woods.
That's pretty good advice. That's pretty good advice. That's pretty nice though to have your name be your best pickup line. Yeah, baby, how you doing? I'm Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm. You ain't got to say nothing else.
Right. You just hit him with a little bit of the LL lip action. They know what time it is. Let a chance for the dollars and cents to add up in their head. They only need a minute, trust me. After that, you're peaches.
Yeah, but I just thought that was funny. Tell them you're Tiger Woods.
Hey, and I guess that lets you know what it is when you the man. You don't got to do no talking. You ain't got to do no whole bunch of talking, man.
Yeah, that's funny. What y'all got any last words, man? Y'all ready to wrap this up?
Man, all I can do and say is in closing, man, is that the heat is on. You know what I'm saying? We knee deep in these NBA playoffs. It's officially conference finals time, and these is the best matchups. I think this is what everybody was looking for.
Are we all?
Minus Kyrie Irving. We hate to see him out because I think that LeBron would just prove another point. But, he's not around. But minus
Kyrie ain't want no
Irving,
parts of this, man.
I don't think so either. I really don't. And really, I think if Boston keeps it up, Boston might not want no parts of Kyrie either. Like I say,
that's a story for another day.
I mean, we talked about that
hey,
already.
Are we looking Cleveland, Golden State, Cleveland, Houston?
Let's just enjoy this series, man. Let's just enjoy this series.
No predictions. No predictions.
I think we already made our predictions. I think y'all both went Cavs Houston in the beginning before the playoffs. I think I was the only one that went Golden State Cavs, but.
We're gonna stay right there, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna leave it as it is. Man, but one final thing, Big Slim, man, shout out to our listeners, man. What time and day is the podcast? Can you do a live stream for people to call in? Big Slim, we usually record on a Saturday, possibly a Sunday. We're looking to live stream for people to call in, but currently we're looking to actually do a live show from a bar or someplace else, man, where people can interact, man. So shout out to our listeners,
we local.
Man.
We trying to get local.
Yeah, man. We trying to take over Cleveland. Yeah.
Shout out all the local businesses, man. Anybody tuning in, you hearing our show, you liking what we doing. We would love to grace the venue, with our energy and with our expertise, with our knowledge, man. And we would definitely love to reach out to the listeners. So, you know what I'm saying? We got that coming for y'all in the future, road, Big Slim.
Yeah.
Down the road.
But
Not too far down the road, though. And keep the questions coming. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we definitely wanted to make sure we addressed you on the air to let you know we are looking and we are watching. We always telling y'all to holla at us. Holla at me on Twitter and Instagram at BoyWonder, BOI1DURR. You know what I'm saying? I've been knowing about this sports thing for a minute. Get at me with any of your questions. Write us on our walls and comment on all of our videos and under the podcast. Let us know what it is y'all thinking, man. We going to get back to y'all. We definitely want to reach out to the listeners, reach out to the locals, and, hear what it is that y'all got to say. For sure, this is Gamepoint Podcast, a week as it's known to the fans. I am that mouthy mofo, Ted Grams, and I bees out there, me and West.
All right, man. Let's try to start another show, man. I ain't know what to do. I dropped the ball. But you already know what it is, man. Des the Connect, man.
Pop saying goodbye. Everybody enjoy the playoffs. Pop saying goodbye.
Signing off.
Dwayne Casey, man, keep your head up, man. We rooting for you, man.
There you go.
I ain't rooting for you.